Hello everybody, it's Easy Hardware. I'm doing a Ryzen 3D cache video, kind of putting together all the findings that I've seen around the interwebs, mostly Twitter, of all the maybe grain of salt updates that we've gotten about the upcoming 7950X 3D and even the 5800X 3D. I'm going to talk about that one as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about the Ryzen 7 5800X 3D. Kind of, I would say, CPU-Z leak. Now, this was originally posted on Twitter a pretty good while ago. What was it, a couple months ago? Yeah, late August. So the culprit here is an AMD 5800X 3D, but it is overclocked to 5.5 gigahertz, which is, well, megahertz, I mean, not gigahertz, which is really insane. Well, actually, it's impossible, unless you're on, like, LN2, and then even then, it's pretty crazy. Now, the CPU is locked to, I guess if you didn't know this, the CPU is locked to 4.5 megahertz. But people, if you go into the BIOS on, I mean, I want to say all motherboards by now, they probably have like an overclocking update, at least by now, for their BIOSes. You can go into well, even AMD has a, it's called PBO. You can do that, or you can just mess with the F clock on the motherboard to overclock your CPU, but that kind of overclocks everything, so it gets kind of messy in the BIOS. But I digress. But basically, the CPU, you really shouldn't see anything higher than 4.7 on a normal non-LN2 version of this. So this going to 5.5 is the most sketchiest grain of salt tweet that I've seen so far on the CPU. But I'm going to go over to the next page. This is talking about this as well. AMD have said that they are working on unlocking or being able to unlock the overclocking ability in some form in the future. On I'm still talking about the 5800X 3D. I don't know. We don't know when that's going to happen. We haven't seen anything on that. So far, everyone has just been kind of just messing with the the normal methods of overclocking this lock chip, and it's been going pretty well. I mean, it is comparable to a 12900K, which is pretty, really good, really crazy CPU. And to kind of further iterate on this, on why this goes into what we're going to talk about in the video, if you go over to, where is it? Here it is. Okay. So this is a post of the sales, I believe, of at least this month, or at least maybe the past couple of months, of all the CPUs, like the Ryzen CPUs. And look who is at the top at 1,400 sales. 1,400 sales, and this is with the launch of the Raptor Lake came out and everything. You see this on the sheet, on the seat. I can't even talk today. On the sheet, and also you see the new AMD 7000 series on here too. So this chip is really hot. Everybody wants to get their hands on this. If you're on AM4, you literally just plop it in, enable XMP, and you're good to go. Like there's no tweaking you have to do. It's literally just a less than 5 minutes, and you have equivalency of a 12900K, maxed out basically, which is pretty insane. So these chips are, pretty nice. A lot, AMD working on an overclocking BIOS, or maybe they do a thing where they enable them to go farther than what they're regulated to. Will help out a lot of people since it's their best-selling chip. And all this tells AMD is that their X3D stuff. I'm sure they already knew that their X3D stuff was really good. They need to, like, I would say they need to double down on the X3D. This right here is what makes their CPUs really interesting and really competitive. I would say the X3Ds are basically the RTX of what Nvidia would have. Like how groundbreaking it is, and like how kind of weird and like no one really uses it. I'm not gonna say Intel is gonna use X3D or any of that stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with something like they sit back and think, they're like, huh, well, this X3D stuff is actually kind of crazy. Maybe we can do something like that, or they do their own version of it. And this is kind of what CPUs. This is how they kind of get past their like limit, because we are starting to reach the limit of what CPUs can actually do. I think Jensen, the CEO of Nvidia, he made a tweet of them kind of reaching like in the next 5 years easily. They keep going about the CPU technology the way they're going about it. They're just not going to get any faster. It's just they can only go so fast. And the X3D stuff relies on like cache speeds, like the amount of cache you have, and that increases the speed. So we might see CPUs kind of pivot in this direction, where they you know, let's say in 5 years they're able to still hit 6 gigahertz, but they have like 400 megabytes of cache, and that makes them really 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 fast, because the games that like really love cache, they sit in the cache and they get all the speed benefit from that. But I'm going way off the rails. So yeah, going into our next argument. But where is it? I have like 50,000 things. Okay, so this was leaked. Well, I wouldn't say leaked, but posted September 12th, which is kind of, you know, it's dated. I haven't really seen anybody talk about this. This seems very very sketch. This is the Ryzen 7 7950X3D. Supposedly, it is hitting 5.8 megahertz. Now, another thing about the X3D chips, they are supposed to clock lower than their non-X3 counterparts. So, now, AMD did say that they're not going to have anything on these X3D stuff until early next year. So that there being something like this early is already sketch. It being clocked this high is sketch again. So yeah, I really don't know about this at all. Now, if it was clocked at like 5.3 or 5.2, you know, maybe, but it is pretty crazy though. But yeah, we'll see. It could be on LN2 as well. You never know, but I highly doubt they're doing anything like this right now. So we can gather on this like sketch post 128 megabytes of cache. What does times 2 mean? Does that mean 100 megabytes times 2, or is that all together? I think this is all together. I could be wrong though. You can post in the comments if I'm wrong or not. Pretty sure it's 128 all together. Now the 5800X3D, I've been saying 3D too many times, but it has 96 megabytes of cache. 96. So yeah, if this is the specs and it's not doing this crazy clock speed anyway, that is a definite benefit. We saw the benefit of just the normal, like the last version of this, and had nowhere near like the IPC gains in like the cache and everything in the cores and all that kind of stuff. Now, if we go over to which one did I want to show off? Yeah, over here. This post is by 𝙮𝙤𝙪'𝙧𝙚 on Twitter, and they have 6,710 benchmarks, 18 CPUs of 28 launch reviews. So I'm guessing he gathered up all of the tech tubers, all the reviews, and put them all into like a little graph. I think the top bar is application performance, and the bottom bar, which is like lighter color, this is gaming performance. 100 being the best, and et cetera, et cetera. So what I want to kind of extrapolate from this is, like, you see the 13900K is at 100%. I mean, I don't really know. I wish he kind of did average FPS. Like, he kind of like out of the 28 reviews, he got together all of the games that like that actually lined up with all the reviews and kind of put it together like that. So you can see the average FPS like of all the games like in one big thing instead of just percentage thing, but that's fine. I'm getting off topic again. Basically, yeah, 100%. The 1200K, like we already know this thing is quick. It's quick, right? Then you have the 7950X. It's about, give or take, like 9% slower. I'm assuming this is stock to stock and not overclocked. The numbers will probably get even more worse for the Ryzen if we do the overclock numbers, but stock to stock about 9%. So if you look down here, here's the 5800X, and here's the 3D. So this is only using 98 megabytes of cache. Well, the 3D cache or whatever. And it's about 14% a difference on 98, or it might be 96. It's 96 or 98. I'm not. I have to like double check that. But yeah, about a 14% difference. So I wonder. I mean, I'm sure this is basically just a grain of salt, and like we're off in La La Land at this point. Could you just like add 14% just onto this, and that's like kind of like an estimate of the performance? But I was thinking about that, and you can't even do that because it's using 128. Like theoretically, wait, no, this isn't it. Where is it? Yeah, theoretically, it's using 128. So you would have to like even more headcanon your way on like what 128 megabytes would do. And I don't even know how to even calculate like an extra megabytes of cache, how that would calculate into performance. But I'm just gonna highball it and just guess to the moon that we could see 14 to 20% uplift in average FPS if we're in complete La La Land and it all works the way it's going in my head anyway. Which would mean this bar would probably be like what, like 100 in. It'll be up here. It'd be like 120 something percent, like average FPS, which would be well above. Like if we're going by this graph, it'll be well above whatever the hell Intel on their 12900K can do, and even their KS. I highly doubt that like they can overclock to make up the difference of like a 21% difference in average FPS over this. Now that's in complete La La Land, and we would hope that it would go that fast. I'm sure AMD hopes that as well. But yeah, and if it does end up going that fast, if it's actually somehow like it's somehow 21% average faster than this, it's going to be very expensive, like easily $850 or more, like maybe $950 because they'll have back the gaming crown, and they can like tote that around for the next, like, I don't know, maybe 2 years or so until they roll out with something else. But realistically, if I had to, like, if we're lowballing it, we might see a 10% increase if we're not in complete la la land, like 10%, and it might be, it might, I would say it might trade blows with the 12900K, or it'll be like maybe like 5 to like 8 FPS faster, with it being maxed out overclocked, like 5 to 8 FPS, because it being 21% is pretty insane, and I don't think they can do that. They have to add maybe like another like 50 megabytes of cache, which, yeah, I don't know, we'll see. We'll have to see how much cache they can keep adding to these chips. They can keep slapping on to these 3D chips by their 8000 series. We'll see how far they go. Now, that is, unfortunately, that is going to be the video. Sorry, it's like more of a like talking, rambling video of a bunch of nonsense, of this and that, and hypotheticals, going about the AMD, the 3D stuff. But I really did want to talk about this stuff because I kind of wanted to let it pile up for a while. So I had like a couple things to kind of break down. Now, by no means am I a CPU expert in these regards, so I have no idea what you should do. If you're gonna wait for their 3D stuff, then by all means go ahead. But if you're building right now, you can definitely pick up a 3D cache chip on the M4 Platinum. I was gonna say Platinum platform for pretty cheap. I think they're going for like under $370 on Amazon right now. And you can pick up a 550 board, slap it in, and you have basically within reason a 12900K maxed out, which is pretty nice. But that's all I got. Follow the channel. I'll try to do some more tech stuff every now and then. I'm in a hotel right now. We got our landlord didn't renew the lease, so we just been kind of drifting for a while. So yeah, it's fine. It's all fine. We're reporting our tech as we see fit. I also sold my gaming PC, so you're not going to see any like benchmarks from my channel for quite a while. We'll see what we end up with, though. I'll be building something probably next year sometime. I'll tell you what. I'll wait for the 3D chips, the new ones from AMD, and we'll do like a 3D cache kind of build. I don't think I'm going to use an AMD GPU though, unless it's like really, really quick and they fix a couple things that I don't like about their GPUs. But we'll probably just go stick with NVIDIA, get like a 4080 or something like that. But yeah, we're officially done now. That is it. Have a good rest of your day, and thanks for watching.